Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now March 30th of 2020, and ever since the release of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, a lot of fans around the world have been very intrigued about the future of the Star Wars franchise by Disney and Lucasfilm, and exactly how they're going to handle the new expanded universe. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, the one thing about Disney Star Wars is that we do know that as of right now, the new Disney CEO, Bob Chapek, I'm sure a lot of you guys out there know and have heard that Disney CEO Bob Chapek is still in the transitionary phase. Essentially, that means that he is being guided by Bob Iger until sometime in 2021, where he will actually be given full control over Disney as the CEO. So what's really interesting is exactly how the new expanded universe is being handled as we speak, both on Disney Plus and, of course, for future theatrical releases. We are talking about the new Star Wars films to be released in the near future. That's really going to bring fans in a brand new mythology and to different eras that we have never seen before, either in Star Wars Legends or in the current canon material. Now, the thing about Disney Star Wars is that they are really trying to reshape the franchise as we know it, and a big part of this has all to do with the return of George Lucas. This idea all is rooted from Bob Iger and Chapek in order to really make a better future for Star Wars and to really make it as successful as it really can be. Now, with that being said, now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with The Rise of Skywalker, they are focused on their new Star Wars trilogy as well as their new Star Wars universe, where it's noted that both Disney and Lucasfilm are currently developing their new expanded universe to be larger than the old one from the 90s and the early 2000s. However, it's noted that the new Disney CEO, Bob Chapek, is said to have a plan in place in order to create more authentic stories for the future of Star Wars. Now, it's explained that Bob Chapek has brought on creator George Lucas to become a co-writer for at least one of the planned 3 new Star Wars films that will be a part of the new Star Wars trilogy. It's explained that this plan by Bob Chapek is to ensure that the future of Star Wars feels very authentic based on George's vision and how he sees Star Wars. It's said that Chapek wants George to co-write one of the films with the writers and directors to be announced in the coming months at Star Wars Celebration this August for the new trilogy of movies. George is actually said to be planning those, of course, many of his ideas that did not make it to the final cuts of the prequel trilogy films, and even some of his ideas that were planned for his version of the sequel trilogy, where this is said to be what George will be applying to one of the movies when he begins co-writing one of the films sometime in 2021 next year, and that Chapek and Bob Iger want the future of Star Wars to become more successful or just as successful as Marvel. George Lucas is said to also be co-writing an episode for the Kenobi TV series that will be released sometime in late 2021 that will begin filming in January of next year, and that Kathleen Kennedy no longer has creative control over any of the existing projects in the early development phase. This is described to be Chapek's way of gaining back many of the old Star Wars fans around the world who were not satisfied with the sequel trilogy movies. So the thing about this that's really exciting is that this is going to make the new movies feel more authentic than the sequel trilogy movies. Now, what do I really mean by more authentic? What I mean is that staying more true to what Star Wars really is down to the core, right? The sequel trilogy movies, in my opinion, feel very disjointed at times. In fact, a lot of times, especially with an entire movie, that of course being The Last Jedi by Rian Johnson. But apart from that, The Force Awakens and The Rise of Skywalker, it's really scattered to parts where it's disjointed or parts where it's very true to Star Wars. It's really scattered in my, point of view here. So the fact that they have George Lucas coming in on board to co-write at least one of the new Star Wars movies for the new Star Wars trilogy, that to me I think is excellent news. And if you guys had to ask me, I think it all has to do with Star Wars X, which is actually the first film of the new trilogy. I don't see George just coming in, in the middle of the trilogy or the last film. I mean, that's still possible, but the fact that they are going to be writing these movies all at once, I don't know if you guys knew this, but all 3 Star Wars movies are being written together next year in 2021. So it's going to be a very lengthy process. Of course, they're going to be filming as they go, but they're going to be writing these movies all together as one piece. They're going to have an entire plan all pretty much laid out before the movies even roll out into theaters. Something that the sequel trilogy did not really have. It didn't have a plan. And we see that because they never really planned for Palpatine's return in the very beginning. That was really shoehorned, and a lot of fans didn't necessarily like that idea by, of course, Kathleen Kennedy. So the fact that these new Star Wars films are really going to introduce a different side to Star Wars, right? Going to give fans a different mythology, new eras that we have never seen before. That, I think, is something that's going to really change Star Wars as we know it, and exactly how the fans really see Star Wars as a franchise. I mean, that's the most important thing of all, right? So, with that being said, guys, let me know what you think about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon we hear them moans again.